Democracy and History, 2012. Sources, the author uses sources from interviews with former slaves and historians, prepared especially for Women's America, drawn from an early version of They Were Property, White Women as Slave Owners in the American South, Rosalie Calvert to Henry J. Steyer, the plantation letters of Rosalie Steyer and Calvert. Okay, yeah. The author's thesis, how parents raise their children to prepare them for roles that they were expected to play, such as being a mistress or a master. One of the main points of the essay, thank you, Maya. During childhood and adolescence, Southern children, specifically the daughters, learn their expected roles as mistresses by observing their families and practicing the techniques of slave discipline and management. Slave owner parents presented their children with the enslaved, leading them to be slowly conditioned into their roles. They may be enslaved acknowledge the young children as their masters, for both the child and the slave to recognize who held the power over whom.
Let's stop for 1 second. So, in a lot of scenarios, it would even be an infant, right, who was basically gifted an enslaved individual and was the legal owner of that adult person. So this kind of conditioning often started at a very young age, that sort of power dynamic.
So these children observe different models of slave mastery, and through trial and error, they develop styles of their own. During property transfers, young white girls held the responsibility to manage the enslaved that had been passed to them through their parents and kinfolk. New mistresses would learn how to be property women on their plantation. Key terms: master/mistress, the name of a slave owner, young master/mistress, child who had been given a slave caretaker, a slave who was assigned to take care of the children. Drawing ceremonies, the ceremony held after the death of the slave owner who wished to divide the slave people equally among one's heirs. Property women who own property or significant financial assets. Adolescence, transitional period between childhood and adulthood. Now, what does this essay contribute to women's history? This essay contributes to women's history because it is about girls. It is about girls and women being enslaved, and how some of them had to learn to be property women. Discussion question: why were young white girls taught how to deal with slaves at such an early age?
To condition them into not thinking the other way, like to condition them into the thinking of, oh, this is property and not this property.
I just want to highlight a couple of passages. So this and Group 2's essay, Women in Slavery, the Gender of Violence, both really sort of turn the stereotype of the genteel white Southern woman, right, on its head, because it was the women who engaged in a lot of these violent acts towards enslaved people, right? So in the essay, it talks about Henrietta King. Henrietta King stole and ate a piece of her mistress's candy because she was hungry. Her mistress kept the people who labored in her home in a constant state of near starvation. When Henrietta was about 8 or 9 years of age, she was responsible for emptying her owner's chamber pots, which is what people went to the bathroom in because there was no indoor plumbing. And when she went to collect the pot in her mistress's room each morning, she began to notice a piece of candy on the washstand. She knew her mistress left it there to test her to see if she would take it, and at first resisted. But after several days, she could no longer resist. One day, her mistress noticed the candy was missing and questioned Henrietta. When she denied stealing it, her mistress commenced whipping her. Henrietta refused to remain still, so her mistress grabbed her by the leg and pinned her head under the rocker of a chair, while her young daughter whipped Henrietta. For approximately an hour, her mistress rocked back and forth on Henrietta's head, while her daughter beat her with a cowhide. The beating crushed the bones in the left side of Henrietta's jaw so much so that she couldn't open her mouth. The left side of her mouth continually slid to the right side. Her mistress called the doctor to examine her, and he determined nothing could be done. Her face was irreparably damaged. After her mistress reckoned with what she had done, she would sit around and stare at Henrietta while she completed her tasks around the house. She never brutalized her again, but Henrietta and her disfigurement were disquieting, so the decision was made to give Henrietta to a female cousin who treated her kindly. She could not chew and was forced to only live on liquids and soup for the rest of her life. So that's how right, the mother was teaching her daughter how to maintain the power hierarchy within her home by basically permanently disfiguring this young girl who she really tricked into stealing candy when she didn't have enough food. Okay, we'll go on to group 2. Keziah Kendall.
Keziah Kendall, Protest Over Curvature. The author is Keziah Kendall. Her background is from what little information you can gather from the letter. She is a 32-year-old woman who lives on a farm near Cambridge. She is solely responsible for the family's finances, as both her parents and her only brother are passed away. The source for this document is the letter from Kendall to Simon Greenleaf papers, the Harvard